am getting a call from my daughter. So I'm going to leave it to you real quick, Yanko, so I can take this.
Hello and welcome to No Particular Reason, episode 109. I am your host, Yanko, and as you heard, life is happening to Kerri, so she's taking a phone call, but she'll be back. And welcome to another exciting episode. As usual, we just show up every Friday and we talk about anything we're inspired to talk about. Having coffee and chatting with our viewers, you guys. So if you guys feel inspired to jump in the chat and say hello or ask us any questions, that'll be very, very, um, very nice. It'll help this conversation going, and it'll help us entertain you better, guys. So there you go. I don't know. Oh, there she is.
I'm back in the saddle again. Ooh. I just had to hold space for my daughter, which interestingly enough, Yanko, you and I were just having a conversation offline about how I had committed or, manifested being present and available for my teenage daughters as they've navigated high school, and how while it may seem a little bit chaotic right now with my daughters going to prom and getting ready for college and all this stuff, I can't help but be so grateful and blessed for watching what I put out into the universe manifest back to me. So that's what I was just doing, was experiencing part of the manifestation that I thought about years ago. So it's all perfection. But yes, we are here for no particular reason every Friday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, 9 a.m. Central, and 8 a.m. whatever Pacific time, talking about whatever floats our boat at any given moment, because life really is unscripted. And I often remind myself my job isn't to plan, it's to pour, to just be present and watch things unfold, which they do, regardless of whether I try to control it or not. And so that's what we talk about here. And it's a beautiful thing. So what's poppin', Yanko?
I was gonna say, when you slow down enough in life, you start to see that life is happening for you and through you. You co-create with everything, so it's not like, oh, I have to do this and that. You just have to be. And I think I lost you. There you go. Let's see. But and this is just to tell you how unpredictable everything is. Sometimes you get this kind of stuff happening, and we don't even know. Oh, there she is.
Oh, I know.
Back.
I've been having a whole conversation with you, which I knew you weren't listening to because I was not available. But now
But
I
it's
am.
but it's interesting how this works, because sometimes it could be on your end, it could be on my end. Nobody knows who's getting the internet connection dropped. So in reality, sometimes I get dropped and you continue on, and our viewers will get what they get. They're either going to get you or they're going to get me, almost like a split of realities.
And you don't get upset. In the words of every single kindergarten teacher ever known to man. No, but anyway, okay. So going back to what you were saying, what were you saying?
I was just saying that you don't have to make things happen, because if you slow down enough, you're going to realize that life is just happening, and you're just being present allows you to like absorb it all. And we have this idea that we have to make things happen, but they just happen
Yeah.
either without participating or with participation. So, if you slow down enough, you'll notice that life is just lifing and
Well,
it's
and you
happening.
notice it, but it is always unfolding in your greatest good anyway. And it's interesting because on Instagram, I follow like all these funny animal feeds, but also have random clips of like a dog spazzing out in front of their owner, only to like have the owner move and then a car crash into the wall. And that's presence, right? Like we can't plan that. And so
Right.
when we're just not in our mind overthinking things, and we're just here, everything we can witness it working out in like the way it's meant to for our greatest good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when you're present, you can co create and have this presence that you're having.
So you were talking about an aha moment you had earlier this week, but I had an aha moment earlier this week as well. That it's so funny because I originally very young age, I grew up with the Bible and the scripture. Though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, blah blah blah. The reality is when we cease to exist in this body, we don't die. So this is what I had the epiphany of. It's
Yes.
it's not like where people get hung up on this. Oh, I'll be in the kingdom of heaven or in heaven when I cease to exist in this body. No, 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 no. Though I walk through the valley of unconsciousness, when I walk through the valley of people who are not aware that they're operating from habits, programs, and beliefs, right? You're suffering. You exist in hell because it's like this repeated loop over and over again. And that's why it says, I will fear no evil. As you're aware, you become more present. And then you and I and individuals who have practiced this and have experienced it, because I'm all about the experience, not lip service, understand we do co-create with reality. And once you have that understanding, you live in the kingdom, heaven on earth, because you're at peace. You create the experiences. And then once you are no longer tied to this human form, there's no death. You just reemerge into the energy, the uncreated, unmanifested energy that you came from prior to being in this body.
I mean, but you have to realize that on a deeper level, and have the experience, like you're saying. You have to understand that you're not this body, this mind, this emotions, and all that. Have the whole experience. That reminds me of one of those stories I was reading in a book, talking about one of the enlightened people that were just gonna check out of this world, and they got all the people around him, and they're loving him and saying, "Oh, please don't go." And he would just like look at him and says, "Where would I go?" Like, where would I go? I'm everywhere.
Well, and it's so interesting because I was talking to an individual yesterday who is really having a moment. They were in struggle, and I said, you get to have that struggle. Like, don't force it. Don't this is really what I also want people to hear. And it goes back to what you were saying earlier. Life is always working for you. So your awareness and understanding is exactly where it needs to be at this time and space moment for you. And you don't have to force it. And so if you're in a time, or if you're experiencing angst or suffering, and you're still like, you don't know how to get out of that, or you feel like you need to, but it just keeps settling into your experience, trust it, because that is the gift that you are getting to crack open into more moments of awareness. And it's it's an unfolding. You don't wake up one day and come to these understandings that Yanko and I have experienced. It's a permission, giving your mind permission to have a different experience, and then allowing it to unfold over the course of your experiences in perfect timing.
Yeah. Wonderful. I couldn't say it better. No, because I was thinking about it. It's like a game. You know, you play it, you enjoy it, you become the character where you play the game. You really enjoy it. You know, you do the actions or whatever, and that's why we or I'll talk about myself. Enjoy playing games sometimes. You know, electronic games and other things, and um, I can take it up even a level, further and in play it in this reality, not only on the computer, but have fun here.
Yeah, 100%.
You
Yeah,
know, have much fun here in the present. Yeah.
yeah. But again, I mean, you and me kind of go back to the same truths every week because it's what we experience. Uh, but really, you get to have whatever experience you want. Anybody out there listening, it's entirely up to you. It's what you're willing to open your mind up to, and then go through. Are we gonna today? We're gonna sit in silence because we ain't got nothing to say today. Although I'm not silent because I always got something singing inside my brain.
No, but it's good to enjoy everything, good and bad, like silence and talk. And that was another thing. I met with somebody that was saying that he was misunderstood because sometimes he just needed to be in silence, and he felt that inside that they just need to be in silence, and people around them took it the wrong way, like they're mad or they're just kind of like not wanting to talk to them, but they just felt like not talking, which is fine. And when that feeling went away, then they started to talk again. So it's something different. You have the talk, not talk, and everything else in the duality of world.
Yeah.
It's
Well, it
wonderful.
also goes back to the last judgment, and I stand by my understanding that the last judgment is just the last time you judge whatever you're experiencing, whether you wake up feeling anxious or you flip somebody off in a car or you want to be silent while everybody's talking. Our inherent habit is to judge that. Oh, I should engage in conversation, or I should be nicer in the car, or whatever the case is. But when you don't judge it at all, you actually learn deeper understandings about yourself that eventually move you out of acting in a way that, might come back to you and feel uncomfortable or something that you don't want. Like for me, I love joy, I love connection, I love love. So I behave in a way that attracts that back to me. But I could easily flip somebody off and then have somebody, I don't know, hit my car, and it's still not bad or good. It's just that's the energy I put out. So I have to live with what comes back to me.
Well, that's the thing. When it's unconscious and it's running an autopilot, that's why that present in the circumstances bring it up so it could come to your conscious and you can understand it and take it in, slow down, and say, "Oh, I was doing this automatically." Then next time around, when the same situation comes in, you're not just gonna have a knee jerk reaction and act upon automatically. You're gonna slow down and do it different or not. Depends on how you see it. My understanding is different about the other side or hell and in heaven and all that. I think it's a mindset, and we're the only judge, that judges us. So,
Mhm.
because at the end of the day, when you're passing on, you're gonna look at yourself or look at this lifetime. At least I know I did when I was having a near-death experience. The entire life went through from like little kid to now, and kind of flashed, and I was like, oh, and so nobody's gonna be there like to punish you or not punish you. You're just gonna punish yourself, and you're gonna take that on the other side is a consciousness, and you're gonna run with it. So if you feel guilty this entire time when you're here, then you're gonna take that on the other side, and you're gonna create hell for you. Or if you're living in bliss and you're all in bliss all the time when you're here, and you're kind and everything else that's happening, then nothing else, you're going to take that and take it another side with you. So it's not like there's this and that, and there's some god that's going to punish you and all these other things. It's you on the end of the day. But that's
Yeah,
my own understanding.
it's and that's the thing is creation is just unmanifested energy. It's like just like it's just energy in it through you and me and the plants and the animals and the grass. It's experiencing itself in multiple forms of manifestation. That's it, and at the end of the day, once you really really understand that, you free yourself from that habit of overthinking, because you can change your mind like this and have a different experience.
So yeah, I mean, again, it's like a track like. So if you're doing things that bring you joy, that don't bring joy to other people, then those things will continue on until you flip, and what goes up must come down. And kind of like pendulum, swing the one way and the other. So yeah, but that's how I think of it. Not like that there is something, or like somebody will punish you. And it's kind of, sometimes I got chuckle at that when people are really mad and they're still on that um, mindset of like blaming something else and saying, "For me, like it's this, and not because I'm here and I'm on this weak position, I'm gonna pray to God to punish you." Or they straight up tell you, "God will punish you. You see, there's God, there is, you know, this thing that it's gonna settle the score per se, or like equal the thing because you did me wrong or somebody else did me wrong, whatever the case is." So yeah.
What's so interesting, I was having a conversation. So I was at my sister-in-law's graduation. She just got her master's from Northeastern. Shout out, Michelle. I love you dearly. But I was talking to our family in the car, and that family is very religious. Like they're steeped in idolatry, really, like this worship of this narrative and belief system. And what I was sharing with an individual I love deeply is I witness this constant studying of certain scripture, like throughout the day and stuff, right? All of it. But I never see this individual apply what they study into their own human experience. And so they really are very unconscious, and yet will tell the exact things that you were saying. God is going to condemn you and stuff. And this is why I encourage people, rather than just following specific scripture or religious ideologies that you've been brought up in. It's not good or bad, right or wrong. Question them and at least look at how you can apply, I don't know, what you sow you shall reap into your own life, cause and effect. Because I hear it all the time. I mean, we see it right now. We see like religious ideology informing the choices that our government is making, and it makes me laugh because I'm like, what
You made
we
your
are.
bed, now you're gonna sleep on it, right? You just kind of like look at it and go like, "Oh, that's nothing new."
Well, the funny thing is we're oneness. This is what blows my mind. In this day and age with quantum physics, neuroscience, I mean, just so much evidence. And then, of course, scripture that has been pervasive since the dawn of time. How is it people still uh like not realize we're one? So if I hurt you, I'm hurting myself. Like I just like that to me blows my mind, because even as a little girl, like I knew if I took somebody's candy, I was hurting them, and then they would hit me, and then I got hurt because I hurt them, and it just kind of like made sense. And we still as adults haven't quite figured out that when we cause harm comes back to us.
I would say that, and this might sound like blaming, but how the reality is, with being programmed at a young age that this is how you operate and this is how you should be, or how you should be and shouldn't be, and all these other things, and stimulating the mind, which also gets your sense of self separate, your intuition weakens, and you're stuck here more of the time, and you try to solve problems with your mind like it's some kind of math equation, and some scientists are still doing it, you know um, coming up with equations and other things. But in reality, that's what it is. The mind cannot solve a lot of the things. The mind actually helps you stay separate,
Unconscious.
or feel separate and conscious, keep going with programs, other things. And it's not only that, it's not that programs are bad, but there's like even genes and other things that are passed from generation to generation. So it's it's the whole thing because you're a part of it. So you get the experience.
Well, and that's the thing. I also, again, suffering is familiar. So it's easy to just bitch and complain, but stay in what you know, because it's so familiar, you know. But interestingly enough, your spirit, your soul, like your higher self, is always going to strive to push you out of that suffering. And so if you ignore it for long enough, something will happen, like you have a near death experience, i.e., Yanko, or you sit in your sister's blood, me, and have this realization that, oh, wait a minute, I don't have to sit in this experience if I do not want to, you know? But
But
we,
let me ask you this though.
yeah.
When you're sitting in that experience, was there any mind? Was there any thought, or everything just kind of froze and you had that aha moment?
Yeah, I knew. Uh, I immediately knew that everything was perfect. Like it's kind of hard because people ask me about that, right? I remember sitting there in all this blood crying, and then all of a sudden I just was like, "Oh, it's fine." Like it's all great. It's like we're cool. And she's cool. I'm cool. I'm gonna be fine. And I mean, to that point, like people, I think about it from an ego perspective, like looking at my life from ego. I'm like, I mean, within 6 months of that experience, I left my secure job, my marriage, took on $80,000 worth of debt. Like, I mean, I literally was like, it's gonna be fine, and life. But again, I had that experience, and that's what I encourage people to give themselves permission to have, is the experience, because I had studied. So I really do believe I gave myself permission prior to that moment to have that experience, because I'd been studying psychology and philosophies and theologies and all these different modalities of, you know, knowledge. for years. And so it culminated into that moment when I was able to have that experience to break my ego.
Yep. Yep.
Yeah.
Put it all together. No, the
Mhm.
reason I was asking is because usually you have that kind of aha moments when there's no mind involved. When you're just kind of peaceful, you could be sitting by a river and have no mind involved in just being present. Or some people have it when they're showering because they're like boop 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 boop, automatic action. It's going on. There's nothing going on in your head, and you're like, oh, I had a great idea. You have those aha moments. So that's why I was like, let me ask you that, because maybe sometimes when you're going through like something shocking, or sometimes they say that sometimes they use that even in the Buddhism, where they go and shock in a stick to like stop their mind, to have that space where they can have no mind and be like, that's what I was alluding to. Yeah.
Well, that's why, like, think about it. If somebody's drowning, they tell the person, or they're like freaking out, slap them in the face, because it gives your mind a quick jolt to make a different
Quit
choice.
it! Quit
Yeah. Uh,
it!
that's why, when you see all those videos that, like, of babies who are crying, and then all of a sudden their parent will slap a piece of cheese on their forehead, like, that's a quick but, like, all of a sudden it breaks, right?
No,
That
I wonder who figured that one
I
out with the
know,
cheese.
like, I was like, "Oh, well, that's funny. I don't think I'd think to slap a piece of cheese on my kid," but it works, because it's that quick, break them out of that overthinking, that, like, habit of wherever
Right, right,
they're at.
right, right,
Yeah,
right.
for sure.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, I say this to people I work with in business, and I was a big proponent when I ran businesses of, I mean, the minute you feel anxiety, like contrast, like you're in that thought where you have to figure it out, that's when you walk away and go play. That's when you realize, oh, I am now forcing, or really striving and working hard to come up with a solution, when really all I have to do is walk away and do something completely different, and then you will have that experience that gives you the exact solution you needed to fix the problem, or create, or whatever it is you're looking to achieve in the work you're doing. But I always witness, I mean, just last week, oh, well, I work a 9 to 5 and I got to be on the clock and I don't want to upset my boss. And this is what I encourage people. And this is true because I did this in my own life. So I know from experience after experience after experience, I got more work done in a few hours than I ever did in the years that I tried to grind out the problem and the solution when I walked away. So the minute it feels icky, I'm just like, okay, I'm going to do something else. The other day I was cleaning walls and I was over it. So I started baking cookies, and then I started doing this. And then I'm like, oh, I could go back to doing walls again, because I didn't force the experience. I'm just like, yep, nope, this isn't working for me right now. I'm going to move on.
That goes back to, trying to solve it to what I was talking about with the mind, because you keep trying to solve it as occasion, and the mind, it's limited. You narrow your focus so much that you're narrowing the picture to this tiny, tiny little thing, and you're missing the whole picture. And
100%. That's
you
a
can't
really
think outside the box.
good it. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. You're like, I'm solving it. I'm solving it. It's like, what are you solving? You're just like, ah.
Well, and then again, that's the other thing, is training your brain to be in that stillness, because you and I are both, we grew up in the 80s. Well, I did. And so there was no internet and there was no phone, and we had to go outside and play. But now I see people so quickly going through social media, clickbait, email. Their mind is so
Yeah,
busy and getting
yeah.
flooded with information on the regular, that they never really had that experience to pause in the first place. Even kids, right? And I'm just as guilty. Look, when I was younger, my kids were younger, what did I do? Because I was busy, I plopped them in front of the TV, so I immediately gave them that instant feed your brain with information. And I still watch to this day with my kids. Like they love to.
I don't think it's information because I'm seeing it with my little guy in 6. So I don't think he's getting any information of it. I think it's the overstimulation that gets him like excited. Oh, that jumping around, going and screaming because he sometimes he does that like and he does his thing, and that just trains him to look for more of that, more reward, more of that. And anytime I take away that, and I say no game for 1 hour, or no gaming, or no screen time, or whatever, um, he feels like I'm punishing him, and I'm not trying to punish him. It's just that's what it is. So it's kind of nice to see. At least I'm seeing that, and I got the chance to see that through him. When he was younger, I was thinking one day like it's how easy it is to just die and check out, but it's harder to become a human. Like you got to go through the pain of entering or exiting the birth canal, which brings up a lot of trauma. Then you have to go through, the pain of like breathing the oxygen, which is really painful for your lungs. Then you have to go through the pain of teething, teeth coming out, fevers and all that stuff. Then you got to go through the pain of learning how to walk again and do all these other things. When dying is just that, you just die, and this is it.
Mm, I mean, I do believe in this
Like
is
it's a struggling. Like I watch him struggle on every age and every stage,
yeah.
and I still see him struggle to everything. Like how life unfolds and how you think about different things. Last night I was giving him a bath, and he said, um, "How old are you, Daddy? Are you old?" And I said, "Yeah, I'm old." And I said, "One day I'll die, and you'll get old too." And then he said, "I don't want you to die." And I said, "Why?" He said, "Because I haven't learned how to turn the stove on." And I said, "I'll teach you how to do that, no problem." You know what I mean? That's kind of a thing.
Oh my god, I love him so much. That is awesome because you had
He's like, "I don't want you to die. I don't know how to turn the stove on. Like, you haven't teached me everything almost, in a way."
yeah. Well, it's interesting because I have a conversation. One, old is a state of mind, and my daughter always tells me I'm old, and I'm like, I am so young. And it's so funny because the same conversation I was having with one of Nana's family members the other day, I was listening to this individual repeatedly over and over and over again say how old she was. Mind you, she's not old. And I'm like, I'm thinking to myself, when I'm your age, I'm gonna be young. Like I don't even I'm you know what I mean? Like I do not I'm gonna be 46 in 20 days, and I feel younger than I was at 20, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm full of life. I'm vibrant. I have energy coursing through me. At 20, I was fucked up on drugs. I was all in my head. I was constantly in suffering. So I feel younger now than I did when I was young. But my daughter has the same conversation with me. She's like, I don't want you to die. And she's like, you always support me and hold space for me. And I'm like, yeah, I totally get that. And yet, my job, or what I hope to embody for you, is that you are your ultimate support system. It's not about me at all. It's about me guiding you as your mother to come back to yourself, because ultimately you are the only one who really has those answers. And she's funny because she gets mad all the time. She'll ask me, for advice, and I'm like, well, what do you think? And how does that make you feel? Where she just wants me to give her the answer,
Yeah.
and I don't know, because I'm not her, and it's not my job to
Exactly.
figure
It's
out
like,
what is in the highest good for her. She's the only one who can figure that out for herself. So I'm really, really big about, you know, honoring my daughter and talking about death so that she feels confident that, one, it's just a movement from this experience to another, but two, she doesn't need me. Like she has everything she needs within herself to figure it out and to honor herself.
Yeah, I think that it's one of the biggest things that it's stored in our DNA, the self-preservation and the dying, and like a lot of the stuff comes to the fear of death. Once you realize that fear of death or like dying, it's perfectly okay. It's natural process that happens. Then you're like, yeah, it's okay. It depends on how you look at it. It's a mindset. But again, to
100%.
go back to what I was saying, when I die, where would I go?
But
Yeah.
even that is more experiential, right? So, I mean, I tell my daughters all the time that I'm very connected to my older sister, and that feels so obscure for them because they're like, well, what do you mean? She's dead, right? And so, and I get it. So, but like you and I always say, don't take our word for it. It's an experience. You will have those experiences as you give your mind permission to open up to different possibilities, to different consciousness, to awareness, to knowing yourself, you know?
Quiet down a little bit. Come down,
Quiet.
boy. Come down.
Well, that's the other thing is you mentioned humanness is harder than death around the cycles of growing, like aging, and I get it.
At least that's
But I
how I feel for it. Like that's how I see it. So it might not be for somebody else, but go ahead.
Well, no, but I also think, humans struggle to sit with themselves. I think back to what 17 years ago now that I've been meditating, and I was crawling out of my skin. I mean, I really despised observing my thoughts to the point where I couldn't do it for 30 seconds. And that inherently is the hardest practice for humans to come home to, is to start to observe themselves and their responses and their reactions. Because one, if you're judging them, you're going to bring up thoughts of shame and guilt and
That's right.
inadequacy and suffering. But additionally, you're bringing up experiences and emotions that you've culminated within your human existence since you were born. And you have to process all of that out. And that it takes effort, and it's incredibly uncomfortable until you realize it's just a process. But I didn't know. I'm just going through it blindly, and I'm like, this is awful. So it is. It's the human experience is much more painful than death, because death, you just go back into that energy of unmanifested nothingness, really.
Well, let's say hypothetically, that's true for me, but let's say hypothetically that in a higher vibration, you're always in bliss and you're like up there, and you start coming down into this body. And because it's easier to take decisions when you're in high vibration and you always blissed out, it's like, that's not a problem. I'll go down, and you have a human experience, and then you start coming down, and then the density hits, and you start feeling all them emotions and everything else and all that pain, and you start going back. It's like, no, why did I sign up for this? I don't want to be here.
Well,
And then you
even, I
go
mean,
through the
the
whole
person
process
doing that.
again.
Yeah.
Huh?
Well, and then even beyond that, and this is, something I really encourage people to consider. You're not always your thoughts. You can take on thoughts of the person sitting next to you. Like, there really is, our brain does so much more than science has been able to quantify. And so, I know now, because I know myself, when I'm in a room filled with people who are suffering or anxious or even joy filled, right? Like, I know, and I'm like, ooh, this is interesting. And then I get to decide whether I want to experience that with them or exit, right? And we've talked about this many times. If it doesn't feel yummy, I'm usually leaving the party, because it's not a party I'm interested in engaging in anymore.
Not your type of party, huh?
Nope.
No.
I mean,
No.
don't get me wrong, I signed up to serve people who are having those experiences, and I gladly do, because that is a gift that I feel honored to be able to do. But when I'm outside of the role of a support system for somebody else to learn themselves, I'm not interested in that.
Well, I don't know. Sometimes I get a kick out of it. Like I realize that I am in the role and it's the play, because like sometimes I get that, having a conversation with somebody and they go like, "Oh, poor me, this and that and this and that," and they go like, "Oh, we're playing this today. Oh, okay, I see that." It's like, getting with your friends and they decide to play some kind of game or chase each other around the playground or whatever, and you're like, you didn't know you're playing that game, but all of a sudden they all get around and they say, "We're gonna do this, we're gonna pass the ball around, we're gonna do this and that, and you're gonna stay in that corner, I'm gonna come chase you." You're like, "Oh, we play this today." You're like, oh, "Okay." So I got that kind of moments because like
I
I'm
mean,
in the
I have
thing.
that every night with Nan, because he dresses up in a different character.
There you go.
Literally, we made fun of that very truth, that like he showed up in one character. I'm like, nah, I don't want to hang out with you today. I want to hang out with Goku, because that, if people think about it, and they're like, oh, this is just carrying on and being silly. But on a really deep level, no, it is truth. It's, who do I want to hang out with today? What am I gonna do? What is gonna be my experience today? And the more you really learn to play with that, man, does things get interesting.
Yeah, that goes back to our team song. Who you wanna be?
Who you wanna be? Ooh, who you wanna be? Yeah.
But yeah, I had a time when it felt like, especially if you're surrounded with similar people and nothing really changes from your day to day, it could feel like a Groundhog Day, you know, because they go in an autopilot, the same thing keeps coming back, and you're like, "Oh, I've played this before, I've seen it," and it's like, "Oh, okay." And at this point, I had to make two choices: either feel miserable and say, "Wow, this is kind of like I'm trapped in this like a repeating cycle of Groundhog Day when everything keeps repeating itself," or I can be like, let me see how I can spice this up a little bit and do some kind of like a pattern interrupt or something with this other person to get him out of the role and change things a little bit, spice it up."
Yep. Well, I mean, I was having a conversation with the individual who the environment at their job is the same old, same old, same old. I'm like, and they feel stuck, and they're not, but it feels that way. And I do understand feeling that way,
Yeah,
right? Because
exactly. Yeah.
I but that's why I always present many, many different alternatives, because we always have an opportunity to exit something that doesn't feel good, or that is just a continuation of the same pattern over and over again. It's just whether we're willing to make that change. And so often people are caught up in this idea that change is scary, and so they won't move. But we are constantly changing. Our cells are changing, our habits are changing, and so change is a one constant. And so if you can really come from it, at it from that perspective, you recognize change is just a gift you know
I mean, it's when you're part of the whole. Again, hypothetically, let's say you don't buy into this wholeness and everything, but you're in the world, you're part of the world. Even so, you see empty space with the oxygen and everything. There's oxygen, other things, maybe dust in the. You're not feeling it, but life will move you, either you like it or not. Your mind will resist, and that resistance is what's causing the problem in you. Because the more you resist, the thing persists, and life's gonna push you. Like you can sit under a tree and say, "I'm not gonna do anything." Something's gonna happen. You can think of all the many different things that can happen. Rain can come down and get you wet, and say maybe you'll stay in the rain and you're not gonna move and be like, "All right, I'm gonna resist life. I'm gonna stay under this tree like Buddha under the Bodhi tree." Um, Cow can come in and hit you in the head, or a bull or something. You're going to be pushed to move. If you say to life, I'm not going to move, well, guess what? You're going to be in for a rude awakening. It's going to show you that you're going to move because you're part of it.
Yep.
The same way that the water droplets are part of the wave. In the wave, it's moving, but it's also part of the ocean, which it's like a whole thing and it's not moving, but he has the illusion of moving. It's the same thing. So,
100%.
yeah.
That's why I just laugh. I really do, because people like, nah, I don't like change. I'm not gonna, nah. And then I'm like, I mean, you don't have to like change, but you change them regardless of whether you like it or not.
I mean, it could be unpleasant or pleasant change, depends on how you see it. I mean, if you think of it, let's look at trees in nature. You know, the toughest trees are breaking because they're like, ugh, and they resist, the winds and all that. But all the other trees, they're kind of bending to life and they're going with the flow. So they stay up and the rest of it just breaks off. It changes, it's still there, just in a different form. So, yeah.
Yep, exactly. Well, that's why I was driving earlier today from dropping my daughters off, and I forget like what, but I'm just like, I have no say over when I'm not going to be in this human body anymore. I mean, unless I kill myself, but I'm not like plan on doing that. I really like this human experience I've cultivated for myself at this time and place. But no, but seriously, but you just never know. And, last week, several people experienced losses, people who passed away unexpectedly, and some were young. And, we just don't know. And that's why for me, and I do this show and I do the Bright Side Chronicles with Nana, and I really work to embody what I encourage other people to, which is live in this moment. Do what brings you joy. Like that is what you get to experience this humanness for, is to understand that you are one whole. You can't do anything that pulls you out of your worthiness, that you're loved. And so if you have that knowledge, then why not go play and like have a good time while you're doing this thing called life? And I have two daughters, and one is very much a go with the flow type of person, and the other is so resistant. And to witness the two extremes is the gift that I get, because one suffers immensely all the time, and I'm like, "Ooh, glad I'm not you." And the other is just I mean, they struggle because they're a teenager and they're going through life, but like they can accept what's happening, not make up a story about it, and just keep it moving.
I was going to give a different perspective on people passing on. And as I was talking about earlier, when you are there hypothetically and you enjoy and you come back, why won't you celebrate in somebody that's already out of this thing that we call human experience? He's back in the oneness, in the joy, and everything else. Would you want it? That might sound kind of like selfish to have him for you because, like, oh, I miss this person. Always wanted to have him with me, kind of like a possession, like cling to it and not let it go. In a way, the way I see it is like they're okay, man. No bills to pay, none of this nonsense, none of these other things. I mean, the game's over. I mean, they can come back and play it again. But I won't take it as dramatic as some people do. But everyone has a different perspective.
Yeah, 100%. Now, I mean, in all fairness, I did lose Shelly, but I have my two children with me and stuff. So I don't want to assume I know how I would experience something like that. But I lean very much towards you. I'm like, you chilling. You know what I mean? Like you up there. And I can, that's the other thing. When you can, and this is what I encourage people to do, when you can quiet your mind, like when you enter the void, you understand that all of the people that you've quote unquote lost are with you. Like it's, you know what I mean? Like it's just, so it's harder for me to get caught up in that suffering because I feel them anyway. I just may not see them physically, but it doesn't matter. I'm still connected with them. I can still hear my sister's voice. Like she's talking to me on the phone right now, like, and the way she talks and everything. So,
I mean, that was something else I was going to say earlier. Now that we're getting more in, like people are saying, higher vibration and all that, more of those things are going to be accessible because they're going to be closer to the density where we're sitting versus like being a lot deeper before, a lot denser. Now it's going to be a lot like closer and it'll be easier. And like you're sharing with like thoughts and things, telepathy will be a big thing coming soon. You'll be able to hear somebody thinking of you, and then your phone will ring, or you might hear a whole sentence, or you might connect with somebody that's on the other side, which, truth, it's another drop in the ocean that it's part of the ocean. So there's no really any mystery there. It's all oneness that's, connected. You're just almost like, if I have to compare it to something, we'll compare it to a radio station. You turn the dial and you tune to whatever you want to tune in. I mean, you tune into your friend that passed on and you're like, hey man, what's up? And then when you're done, you tune into something else and you keep going.
yep.
So, not a big deal.
But that's the thing. Again, for the listening audience who this feel may it may feel really like, what the hell? Don't take my word for it. Seriously, just give yourself permission and see what your journey unfolds, because I mean, it is who you are. Like you are the whole, like that's truth. You are unconditional love. That's truth. So you can't not start to experience truth. Like our resistance is illusion. Like that's the thing, it's not real. And so as you start to understand, then you have more experiences of it, and then you experience the truth for yourself.
Even the whole conundrum between like dark and light, and light has to fight over dark, and dark will win, or the light it's gonna win, and all this other thing, it's all the same. It's just slightly different. You have to have the experience, the one with the other, the comparison. Yeah, it's interesting. I
But
don't know.
but also again, like that idea of dark over light, vice versa. When you come from curiosity and non-judgment, beautiful experience. If you're stuck in judgment, not gonna feel so yummy.
I mean, if at least you want to figure it out. When I was going through that mindset of like, because there are some people saying, oh, light has to win over dark and this and that, and in the duality of things, before you're able to see the bigger picture and comprehend it in a way, then you think there's gotta be like the one pull at the other, but no, it just is. It's perfectly fine the way it is. Good morning.
We love that you said, "What's up? How you doing?" And then we got
What's
Miss,
up, Nelly? That's one of my friends.
"What's up, Miss Nelly?" or Mister. I don't know, Mister,
No,
Mister.
it's she's a wonderful painter. Check her Facebook account. She has really nice in she does it with not clay with I forgot what was the name of it, but it'll come in. Her paintings are really exquisite. Next level. Check them out.
I love that. Well, Nelly, I also have a show called The Bright Side Chronicles where we talk to people doing whatever brings them joy. There you go. You're welcome to join and be part of the party. Positive things, are you up? I sure hope so. Otherwise, I've been talking to somebody who's now. Here's the other thing, Yanko, you know me. So that went right into an entire different conversation in my head.
Sure. Go ahead. You're so excited. You got to get it out of your chest. So go
Are
ahead.
you up? The world wants to know.
No, at this moment, I'm sitting down. Thank you.
Good. I'm glad. Well, you know what's so funny is I have this very large water bottle and I was drinking it. And my brother-in-law was like, damn, you drink that without a straw? I'm like, Armani, it's just me getting practice. But your brother, you just heard him go, you can hear a pin drop. And I'm just, the way I see it is if you don't know.
But this is exactly what I was talking about. When you have a Groundhog Day, you got to spice things up. You got to do the what do they call it in hypnotism? They call it a pattern interrupt.
Yep.
You got to interrupt the pattern because like people paint pictures in their heads and they already have like a thinking that they're thinking like some kind of decisions and all that. Yeah, there you go. It's Friday. It's also the first of the month. So yay.
It's the first of the month. Wake up, wake up, wake up. I don't know the rest of the song. That's Bone Thugs and Harmony. I used to listen to them in my teens. Is a vibe. It was a vibe. Oh, I look at encaustic with energy. What's
yes, that's what she does.
Encaustic.
Well, that's like they're engraved, and she puts like a positive energy in. And so by just having the painting in your house, it brings that vibe with that energy.
Ooh, I love that.
Wax. That's what she does it with. Beeswax.
Wax.
Yeah. So different colors of wax, and it's like a different levels, and it's wonderful.
It is.
Check her out.
Bees are my bees knees, literally. All right, we got 2 minutes. You got any I don't know, words of whatever coming up for you to share?
No, I just want to thank our audience and viewers and people that participated because it's an energy exchange. We appreciate you guys. We're really happy to have you. Keep coming back. You know, if you feel like you want to share what we do here, share with friend, or if you think that somebody needs to hear what we're talking about and that might benefit them, go ahead, share with them. If not, that's okay too. So, yeah.
Yeah.
That's all I got to say.
I got nothing other than it is our amazing host's birthday on Sunday. So I'm going to sing to you today, even though I'll sing to you on Sunday, so that the listening audience, should you want to join in, you can. And I'm going to sing to you in Polish, even though I'm not a lick of Polish and I don't speak the language, but I know the song. So, stola, ja, żyje na, stola, ja, żyje na, este nasz, ja, żyje na, ja, żyje na. May you have a beautiful, laughter, love, curiosity-filled day and a lot of fun with your family.
That was awesome and so unexpected. Thank you. I never had this done until now, and so I'm really moved. Thank you. There's the pattern interrupt.
All right. Guys, next week.